Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we really get into the details you need to be instantly up to speed.
Yeah, definitely.
Today, we are strapping in for a real deep look at the career, decades long, really multifaceted, of Billie Joe Armstrong.
Right, the frontman, primary songwriter, the guitarist for Green Day.
Exactly. And we really need to go beyond just, the surface level stuff, the big radio hits, the three-chord punk stereotype.
Absolutely. Because what we're looking at here is, well, it's a career that stretches all the way from the East Bay punk scene, like 1987, right up to today. And he moves across genres so easily: punk rock, pop punk, new wave, even garage rock. It's quite the range.
That's really the core puzzle, isn't it? I mean, he's not just a rock musician.
Not at all.
He's an actor. He's had this big fashion influence, a Broadway guy.
Yeah, the Broadway thing is wild.
And on top of all that, a pretty successful entrepreneur, like a small business empire, and still hailed by critics as, one of the all-time great punk rock guitarists. It's a lot.
It really is. The work ethic is just staggering when you lay it all out.
Yeah.
You got Green Day, obviously, that he started with Mike Dirnt.
The main gig.
The main gig, yeah. But then there's Pinhead Gunpowder, that really aggressive punk side project.
Right.
The Network, that whole masked synth rock, new wave, alter ego thing.
Which was confusing for a while.
Totally. And Foxborough Hot Tugs, the garage rock band. So our mission really is to unpack all of this, this constant evolution artistically, entrepreneurially.
Yeah.
Trace back where the angst comes from, look at the controversies, and figure out what happens when punk goes, massively global.
Okay, let's dive in. Let's unpack this.
All right, so to really get a handle on the intensity, the melancholy you sometimes hear in Billie Joe Armstrong's writing, you got to start back in Oakland, Rodeo, California.
Yeah, his early life, he was the youngest of 6 kids.
Right, youngest of 6. And his childhood was hit hard by tragedy, really early on. He was only 10.
That's the death of his father, Andrew. Sources say he was a jazz musician, but also a truck driver.
Yeah, a mix. He died of esophageal cancer, September 1982.
And that specific loss, that month, it's not just biography, is it? It's right there in the music.
Oh, absolutely. It's the core of Wake Me Up When September Ends, one of their biggest, most enduring songs. An acoustic ballad, which was kind of unusual for them at the time.
It really captures something, doesn't it? Not just loss, but how a specific time, that month, September, just keeps coming back around, reopening that wound from childhood.
Exactly. It's powerful stuff. But, even before that tragedy sort of shaped his writing, he was already doing music way early.
Like super early. He recorded his first song, Look for Love, when he was 5 years old.
5, yeah, on this tiny local label, Fiat Records, Bay Area label.
And his mom, his mother, she provides this working class anchor, right? She was a waitress.
At Rod's Hickory Pit in El Cerrito.
Yeah, and that diner, that's not just a detail either. That's where their first band, Sweet Children,
Before Green Day, yeah.
played their very first gig back in '87. So it really grounds his beginnings in that local scene.
And the partnership that defined Green Day started super early, too.
Yeah.
He met Mike Dirnt.
The bassist.
Longtime bassist, yeah.
Yeah.
In the elementary school cafeteria. They were both 10.
Wow.
Bonded immediately over music. Just obsessed. And that friendship, that's the bedrock, really.
So Sweet Children, the first band, it started as a 4-piece.
Yeah. Originally him, Dirnt, Raj Punjabi on drums, and Sean Hughes on bass initially, though Dirnt quickly switched to bass.
Okay.
Punjabi and Hughes left. And then John Kiffmeyer, better known as El Sobrante, came in on drums. That's when they became that tight power trio format.
The classic punk setup.
Exactly. And then the name change. April 1989, they ditch Sweet Children, become Green Day.
And the name itself. Kind of funny origin.
Yeah, the sources are pretty clear on this. It was Bay Area slang. A Green Day was just, a day spent doing nothing but smoking weed.
Which is hilarious because later on, BJ himself said he thought it was, quote, the worst band name in the world.
Huh. Yeah, but sometimes those are the ones that stick, right?
Yeah.
Define a whole era.
Definitely. So their early success, that was all indie.
Totally outside the system. Lookout Records, fiercely independent label.
They put out the 1,000 Hours EP first.
Yep. Then the album 39 Smooth, and those got compiled later into 1,039 Smoothed Out Slappy Hours. Classic early stuff.
And then a drummer change. Kiffmeyer leaves.
Yeah. Late 1990, he went off to university. That's when Tré Cool joined. His first record with them was Kerplunk.
Right, Kerplunk. And that album, that started to make waves, didn't it? Even on an indie label?
Big time. Selling 50,000 copies in the indie punk world back then. That was huge. Monumental, really.
And that's what got the major labels sniffing around.
Immediately. It completely changed their path. That's the big turning point.
They ended up signing with Reprise, part of Warner Brothers.
Yeah, apparently they were really impressed with producer Rob Cavallo. He'd worked with the Muffs, and they liked his sound. Felt like maybe they could keep some artistic control.
But signing to a major? That was a massive deal in that scene. Created huge friction.
Oh, yeah. Foundational controversy, especially concerning 924 Gilman Street.
The legendary DIY punk venue, all about being anti-corporate, anti-major label.
Exactly. Gilman had this strict rule. No major label bands. Signing was seen as, like, the ultimate betrayal of punk ideals.
So Green Day, who had been a core Gilman band, they were out.
Pretty much instantly. The sources confirm it. They played one last show there, September 3rd, 1993.
Under a fake name.
Yeah, Blair Hess. And after that, permanently banned.
Wow.
It crystallized that whole debate. You know, does punk stay pure, underground, local, or does it grab the bigger platform, risk selling out to get the message out to more people?
And Green Day clearly chose the platform.
They did. And wow, did it pay off immediately.
Yeah.
Their major label debut, Dookie, 1994.
It wasn't just a hit, it was a phenomenon.
A generational cultural moment, yeah. Sold over 10 million copies in the U.S. alone. Just massive.
What was it about Dookie, do you think? Why then?
Well, timing maybe. Grunge was getting really dark, kind of nihilistic.
Right.
And Dookie comes along.
Yeah.
It had angst, sure, but also vulnerability, these incredibly catchy hooks, relatable suburban frustration. It just connected.
The MTV jumped all over it.
Absolutely dominated MTV. Longview basket case, when I'd come around, they were everywhere. Modern rock radio, too. It was this energetic, accessible kind of rebellion.
And with that massive fame came,
well,
chaos.
Yeah, the perfect example is Woodstock 94, the infamous mud fight.
Oh, man. The footage of that.
Just spiral. Total mayhem. And then the story about Mike Dirnt getting punched.
By a security guard who thought he was a fan jumping on stage.
Yeah, knocked out some of his teeth. Crazy.
That image, the mud, the chaos, broadcast globally, it kind of cemented their new reality, didn't it?
Totally. Still punk rebels. Still anarchic.
Yeah.
But now on this huge multi-million-dollar stage.
So Dookie explodes, changes everything. How do you even follow that up? The pressure must have been immense.
It really was. And the response was interesting. Insomniac in 1995.
Yeah, that album felt different.
Definitely. It was like a direct reaction. Much darker, heavier, way more frantic sounding. You can almost hear the anxiety about the sudden fame in the tracks.
Did it sell as well?
It did well, went double platinum, sold like 3 million copies, but nowhere near Dookie's numbers. It almost felt like they were intentionally pushing back, you know, refusing to just repeat the formula.
Like an artistic resistance, maybe?
Could be. Like we're not just that catchy pop-punk band. Almost self-sabotage in a way.
But then just 2 years later, they pivot again. Dramatically. 1997, Nimrod.
Yeah, Nimrod was where they really threw everything at the wall. It was super experimental for them. BJ songwriting just expanded hugely.
What kind of stuff was on there?
Oh, man. A bit of everything. Punk, sure, but also hardcore blasts, actual folk songs, surf rock instrumentals, ska, straight-up pop tunes. It was all over the place, but in a good way.
And it had that song on it, the acoustic one.
Ah, yes. Good Riddance, Time of Your Life. The big surprise hit.
Putting an acoustic ballad on a punk album, that was a gamble back then.
Huge gamble. But it paid off massively. That song became absolutely ubiquitous.
Graduations, TV show finales, Seinfeld, sports highlights, everywhere.
Yeah, it proved they could reach way beyond the punk audience. Though, you know, some of the hardcore fans weren't thrilled. Saw it as maybe too sentimental, too mainstream.
Right, the eternal sellout debate again.
Always lurking. But then the momentum seemed to shift again. 2000, they release Warning.
That one felt different too, more stripped down.
Yeah, much more folk punk influence. Apparently inspired by bands like the Kinks. Very different feel.
How did that one do?
Critically. Kind of divisive. Some liked the change, others didn't. Commercially. It only went gold. Which after Dookie and Insomniac and even Nimrod's big hit, felt like a drop-off.
So people started thinking maybe Green Day was losing steam?
Yeah, there was definitely that perception among some observers, like maybe their moment had passed as the 2000s began.
And then things got really weird, the Lost album.
Ah, yes. The mystery of cigarettes and Valentines. This is a crazy story.
So they had a whole album ready to go.
Pretty much. Written and recorded, apparently 16 tracks, sometime in 2002, 2003, ready for release.
And then?
Poof. The master recordings were stolen. Just vanished in the studio.
Seriously, stolen.
That's the story. And instead of trying to re-record it all from scratch or track down the tapes, they just scrapped it.
They abandoned the entire album, 16 songs.
Yep. Made this huge decision to just start over completely from zero.
Wow. That takes guts. Or maybe desperation.
Maybe both. But it speaks to a real commitment to getting it right. And maybe a feeling that what they had wasn't quite it anyway. It paved the way for their biggest comeback.
But not immediately, right? There was a detour first.
The masked detour, yeah. The Network.
Okay, explain the Network.
Right.
Because that was bizarre.
Totally bizarre. So 2003, Billie Joe's own record label, Adeline Records.
He had his own label?
Yeah, co-founded it back in '97. Anyway, Adeline signs this mysterious masked six-piece band playing new wave, synth-heavy stuff.
And they claimed they weren't Green Day.
Vehemently denied it. Said they were from Sacramento. They even cooked up this fake feud with Green Day that went on for years.
So what was the point? Just a joke.
Partly, maybe. But it seems strategic, too. It let BJA and the guys experiment with this totally different sound, high-energy, new wave, garage rock on the album Money Money 2020.
Right.
Without confusing the main Green Day brand, which was still figuring out its next move after the perceived dip with Warning and the Lost Album.
Like a creative pressure valve.
Exactly. They could try stuff out, maybe even fail a bit under this disguise.
Hey.
It wasn't until 2013 they officially admitted it was them, though lots of fans figured it out way earlier. They even brought the Network back in 2020.
So while the Network was doing its thing, Green Day was regrouping.
Regrouping and aiming high. Really high, taking that start fresh mentality after the stolen tapes very seriously.
And that led to the rock opera.
The punk rock opera, American Idiot, 2004.
And this album was huge. A massive comeback.
Monumental.
Yeah.
Artistically, commercially. It just exploded. Debuted straight #1 on the Billboard 200. Sold, what, over 15 million copies worldwide eventually, and put it right back on top of the global stage.
What was the concept? It had a story, right?
Yeah, a full narrative. It followed this character, the Jesus of Suburbia. And it was this really potent critique of American life at that moment, early 2000s, the political climate.
Post 9/11 Iraq War era.
Exactly. BJA talked about it being against a redneck agenda under an idiot ruler. It was protest art that really captured the anxiety and frustration of that time for a lot of people.
And it got critical acclaim too, right?
Two-time. Won the Grammys for Best Rock Album in 2005. And then Boulevard of Broken Dreams, maybe the biggest single from it.
Massive song.
Won Record of the Year in 2006. That's a huge deal. It proved punk rock could be ambitious, complex, conceptual, and still dominate the charts.
They basically invented a new phase for themselves.
Completely.
Yeah.
And they leaned into it. Their next album, 21st Century Breakdown in 2009, was another rock opera. Also did really well commercially.
Yeah. But the American Idiot story didn't end there. It went to Broadway.
Yeah, which is just wild when you think about it. A punk rock opera adapted into a full-blown stage musical.
Yeah.
And it was successful. Won Tony Awards.
Did Billie Joe get involved with the stage show?
He did. He actually played one of the main characters, St. Jimmy, for several weeks on Broadway in 2010 and 2011.
Seriously, he went from playing punk clubs and stadiums to acting on a Broadway stage.
Yep, made that leap. Shows a real commitment to the whole concept beyond just the album. A fascinating turn.
So they reached these incredible heights again, rock operas, Broadway success. But that level of intensity, the constant touring, writing, performing, it took a toll.
A severe toll, which led to a very public crisis in 2012.
The iHeartRadio incident in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that was pretty shocking to see unfold live or on video afterwards. During their set, Armstrong just lost it.
What triggered it?
He saw a timer on stage flashing 1 minute left, apparently for the end of their set time. He got furious, thought they were being cut short by the promoter.
And he went off?
Big time. Launched into this expletive-filled rant, famously yelled, "I'm not figging Justin Bieber," smashed his guitar.
Yeah, I remember that.
And stormed off stage. Just complete meltdown.
What happened right after?
Well, the band had to issue an apology pretty quickly. But they clarified that actually their set hadn't been cut short. It was a misunderstanding about the timer.
Okay.
But the bigger consequence was the immediate announcement that Billie Joe was seeking treatment for an unspecified substance abuse problem.
So this wasn't just a diva tantrum. There was something deeper going on.
Clearly. The band had to cancel everything, all their remaining tour dates for 2012, early 2013. It completely derailed the promotion for their album trilogy, Uno Dos Tre, which was just coming out.
And later, he opened up more about it, right? Put it in context.
Yeah, in 2013, he gave some interviews that shed a lot more light on it. He revealed this wasn't some sudden thing. It was a public collapse after years, maybe decades, of struggling privately.
How long had it been going on?
He actually said he'd been trying to get sober since 1997.
Wow, 1997. That's right around Nimrod.
Exactly. Back near that experimental phase, that first brush with massive, slightly awkward mainstream success with good riddance.
So this struggle had been simmering for 15 years.
At least. He specified that it really escalated during the making of the Uno Dos Tre albums. Said it was mostly alcohol, but also prescription pills he was taking for anxiety and insomnia. Just got out of control.
So the iHeartRadio thing was basically the breaking point, a public cry for help, almost.
It seems that way. A necessary, albeit messy, public stop to years of private self-medication and struggle. They eventually returned to touring in late March 2013.
It's clear through all that, though, that music, especially the guitar, remains central for him. Let's talk about his playing style, his sound.
Yeah, the Green Day sound is so identifiable, largely thanks to his guitar work.
What defines it?
It's that aggressive, super fast, palm-muted power chord attack. Very driving. But he uses a couple of specific techniques that are key.
Like what?
One is called stubbing. It's this way of hitting all 6 strings with a really forceful downstroke, lots of energy.
Okay.
And the other is fret hand muting. He uses his left hand, the fretting hand, to mute the strings he's not playing. This keeps the sound tight and clear, even with all that speed and aggression. That combination is signature BJA.
And that sound is so tied to his famous guitar, Blue.
Oh, absolutely. Blue is iconic. His first proper electric guitar.
What kind is it exactly?
It's a Fernandes, a Stratocaster copy, specifically the Revival RST-50 model.
And he got it way back.
Yeah, 1982. He was 10.
Yeah.
It was a gift from his guitar teacher, George Cole.
1982. That's the same year his father died.
Exactly. So that guitar, Blue, became this immediate, really powerful, emotional anchor for him right from the start.
And the setup was kind of unique, right? Influenced by another legend.
Totally. George Cole put a Bill Lawrence L500XL humbucker pickup in the bridge position. But crucially, he installed it at an angle.
Why angled?
It was a direct nod to Eddie Van Halen's famous Frankenstrat guitar. Billie Joe was apparently a huge Van Halen fan as a kid, just mesmerized by him. So Cole customized Blue in that image.
Does he still use Blue after all these years?
Yep, still uses it. It's been modified over the decades, of course. The pickup was changed around 95, apparently to a Seymour Duncan SH4 JB humbucker, usually black.
And the other pickups?
That's key to the sound. The middle and neck pickups are disconnected. The pickup selector switch is basically locked in the bridge position. Just pure, aggressive bridge pickup tone all the time.
You see it everywhere in their history.
Oh, yeah. It's on the cover of Insomniac, which is fitting, given the sound of that record. And it's in practically all the iconic early music videos, Basket Case, Longview, Minority. It's practically a fourth member of the band.
And this deep connection he has to the guitar, and maybe to his own experience as a fan, it comes out in their live shows too, right? The thing he does with audience members.
Yeah, that's become a real tradition. He frequently pulls people up from the crowd during certain songs, like their cover of Operation Ivy's Knowledge, or sometimes Longview.
And lets them play.
Lets them play guitar or bass or drums, right there on stage with the band.
That's pretty cool.
It really is. And often, he lets the person keep the instrument afterwards.
Seriously? He gives away guitars?
Yeah. Apparently, it's a direct callback to his own childhood awe watching Van Halen, remembering what it felt like to dream of being up there. It's this amazing way of breaking down the wall between this huge rock band and their fans, connecting back to those punk roots.
You know, when you really look at Billie Joe Armstrong's career, especially the later parts, you see this restless energy. Like Green Day, even as huge as it is, isn't enough to contain all his creative impulses.
Absolutely. He's constantly exploring other avenues, which leads us to his role as, an entrepreneur, but also just a really versatile musician beyond guitar.
Even while Green Day was massive, he kept the side projects going, like Pinhead Gunpowder.
Right, that punk band he joined way back in 1991. They're still putting out music occasionally. Just released an EP, Unt, this year, 2024.
Still active after all this time. Who else is in that?
It features Jason White, who's been Green Day's touring guitarist for ages now. And Bill Schneider, who's an associate of Mike Dirnt's. So it keeps those connections strong.
It feels like less of a commercial thing and more about staying connected to that raw punk sound.
Exactly. A community-focused outlet. And then there's Foxborough Hot Tubs.
The garage rock band.
Yeah, formed around 2007. That seems more like pure fun. They used it to play secret, unannounced shows in small clubs. Put out that one album, Stop, Drop, and Roll, in 2008. Just straight up raw garage rock.
And instrumentally, he's not just a guitarist and singer.
Not at all. He branches out quite a bit. On Nimrod and Warning, for instance, he played harmonica and mandolin on some tracks. That's where some of that folkier sound came from.
Right.
He also taught himself piano, which became pretty important on the later rock opera albums American Idiot and 21st Century Breakdown.
Did he play other instruments in other bands?
Yeah, he's played bass in a couple of short-lived projects like The Boo, apparently also the Shrives for a bit, and he played drums in his 2018 project, The Longshot. So definitely a multi-instrumentalist.
This love for different kinds of music also led to some surprising collaborations, right? Outside of punk entirely.
Oh, yeah. The big one that stands out is the album Foreverly from 2013.
Who was that with?
Norah Jones.
Norah Jones, the jazz pop singer. That seems like an odd pairing.
On the surface, yeah. But Foreverly was a tribute album. They covered the entire 1958 Everly Brothers album, songs Our Daddy Taught Us.
Wow, deep cut. What did it sound like?
Very acoustic, lots of close harmonies, rooted in classic country and folk. Totally different from Green Day. It really showed his depth, his appreciation for American musical roots beyond punk rock.
And even during the pandemic, he kept making music.
Yeah, he did that No Fun Mondays project in 2020. Basically recorded a cover song every Monday in his home studio and released them. Just a way to stay creative and connected during lockdown. Ended up releasing it as a solo album.
Okay, let's shift to the business side, the entrepreneur stuff. This seems like another way he balanced the punk ethos with mainstream success.
I think so. Adeline Records, for example, co-founded in 1997.
We mentioned that earlier with the network.
Right. The label was specifically set up to support other, often smaller, emerging bands. They signed acts like AFI, The Frustrators, Dillinger 4.
So using Green Day's success to help other indie bands get a start.
Exactly. A way to give back to the scene, maintain some punk credibility by investing in independent music. The label eventually closed down in 2017, but it had a good run.
And he invested in guitars themselves.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
In 2015, he co-founded a guitar shop right in Oakland, California, with Bill Schneider from Pinhead Gunpowder.
What's it called?
It was originally called Broken Guitars. Now it's Oakland Guitars.
Right.
A direct local investment back into the community and the tools of the trade where it all started for him.
Okay, and then there's the coffee, Pumpany Coffee.
Right. Originally called Oakland Coffee Works, co-founded with Mike Dirnt in 2015.
Green Day selling organic coffee beans.
Yep. But here's the interesting angle. Beyond just being a celebrity side hustle, they made a real commitment to environmental stuff.
How so?
The sources note they were apparently the first company to use mass-produced compostable bags and single-serve pods for their coffee.
Huh. That's actually pretty forward-thinking. A punk band pioneering eco-friendly packaging.
It's a cool juxtaposition, right? Shows
Yeah.
a very modern, maybe more responsible kind of entrepreneurship.
Beyond music and business, he also got into acting more seriously, especially after the Broadway experience.
Yeah, he started taking on small roles in films like Sunday, like Rain. But his first proper lead role was in a 2016 movie called Ordinary World.
What was that about?
He played this character, Perry Miller, basically a husband and dad hitting a midlife crisis, trying to revisit his old punk rock past for his 40th birthday.
Sounds kind of familiar.
Extremely familiar.
Yeah.
Almost autobiographical in a way. Seemed like a perfect role for him to explore some of those themes of aging, past identity, stuff that probably felt very real after the 2012 crisis.
Did he do TV too?
Little bits here and there, popped up on King of the Hill, did an episode of Drunk History, fun cameos.
And now there's a movie coming out that's directly about their own history.
Yeah, supposedly in 2025. It's called New Year's Rev, described as a coming-of-age road trip comedy.
Based on
the band's actual experiences and exploits right before Dookie hit. That crucial period.
Are they involved in making it?
Yep. Billie Joe, Mike, and Tré are all confirmed to appear in it and produce it. So they're actively shaping how their own story gets told on screen. Very meta.
One thing that seems consistent with Billie Joe Armstrong is how openly he shared his personal perspectives, his identity, his convictions. It's woven into his public persona and the music.
Definitely. And that goes way back. Take his views on sexuality, for example.
He's been open about that for a long time.
Since 1995, yeah. He publicly identified as bisexual. There's a quote where he said he believes people are born bisexual, but society makes it taboo. Called it a very beautiful thing.
Did he connect that to the music?
You know, he did. He specifically mentioned that Dookie, their breakout album, actually touches on themes of bisexuality quite a bit, which maybe wasn't obvious to everyone at the time.
And his songwriting, we know about his dad, but relationships seem key too.
Oh, absolutely. Sources talk about his first serious girlfriend, Erika Polino, who he met on his 16th birthday. She apparently inspired songs like Christy Road.
But there was a more difficult one later.
Yeah, a really turbulent relationship with a woman usually identified only as Amanda. This was around 1994, right as Dookie was exploding. She apparently left him to join the Peace Corps.
Wow, timing.
Yeah. And he said that breakup left him feeling deeply depressed, even suicidal. That experience fueled several really key emotional songs from that era and beyond.
But his marriage has been long-lasting.
Extremely. He met his wife, Adrienne Nesser, way back in 1990 at a Green Day show in Minneapolis. They got married in 1994.
Quick turnaround.
Very quick.
Yeah.
Apparently, she found out she was pregnant the day after the wedding. They have 2 sons together. That relationship seems like a real stabilizing force through all the craziness of his career.
On a lighter note, his look, his style, that's been influential too.
Totally. The punk fashion thing.
Yeah.
Eyeliner, spiky hair, ripped jeans. He's been a style icon for that look for decades.
He even did a makeup line, right?
Yeah. He collaborated with the tattoo artist and makeup mogul Kat Von D. Launched an eyeliner actually called Basket Case. Lean into the brand.
Okay, but let's get into the controversies again. The big one that's never really gone away. Punk credibility.
Right. The are they really punk debate. It started the second they signed with Reprise and never stopped.
Who are the main critics?
You had figures like John Lydon, Johnny Rotten from the Sex Pistols. He famously called them a wank outfit, basically dismissing them as posers who co-opted punk for commercial gain. The ultimate punk gatekeeper perspective.
But others defended them.
Yeah, contemporaries too, like Brett Gergitz from Bad Religion, also founder of Epitaph Records. He argued they were crucial, called them the biggest band in the genre, acknowledging their impact.
How did Armstrong himself respond to all that criticism over the years?
His line has been pretty consistent. He acknowledges they left the specific Gilman Street scene, the really strict DIY world, but he always pushes back hard, saying things like, "You can't take the punk rock out of us."
Does he embrace the pop-punk label?
He seems to resist that one, actually. Prefers to see Green Day as just melodic punk rock. He's talked about how even in the early days, they were always kind of left of center compared to the really harsh hardcore bands. Melodic, but still punk.
That fighting spirit definitely comes through in his more recent political commentary.
Oh, absolutely. He identifies as an independent politically, but he hasn't been quiet, especially in the last few years. He's been very critical of Donald Trump.
Calling him a fascist.
Yeah, use that term directly. And he uses his stage, his platform, to make statements.
Like changing the lyrics in American Idiot.
Exactly. That's become his signature move. On New Year's Eve 2024, during that big televised performance, he famously changed the line, "I'm not a part of a redneck agenda," to "I'm not a part of the Meiji agenda."
That got a lot of attention.
Huge attention. It instantly makes a 20-year-old song feel relevant to the current moment, generates headlines. Smart protest tactic, really. He also explicitly endorsed Kamala Harris in the 2024 election cycle.
He used that same lyric-changing tactic against someone else recently, too, right? A tech figure?
Yeah, Elon Musk. He started changing the American Idiot line to Elon Agenda during some performances, calling him out directly.
How did the band justify that?
Mike Dirnt actually gave an interesting quote defending it. He said something like, "Elon Musk actually is the machine," arguing that Musk represents that kind of modern, untouchable corporate power structure that punk has always aimed to critique.
But taking these strong stances, it can backfire commercially, can't it?
Definitely. There are consequences. Like after the Oakland Athletics baseball team announced they were relocating to Las Vegas, BJA, being an Oakland native, was furious. He went on stage somewhere and called Las Vegas the worst shithole in America.
Ouch. How did Vegas react?
Not well. 2 major radio stations in Las Vegas immediately banned all Green Day music from their airwaves in protest. So, yeah, real commercial fallout is possible.
His advocacy extends beyond just electoral politics, too.
Right. He's spoken out strongly on social issues, particularly in support of transgender people, transgender youth specifically.
What does he say?
He told the Times newspaper that people critical of trans rights are fingo close-minded. He really emphasized the importance of parents supporting their kids, saying basically, let your kid just be the kid that they are. Very direct support.
And his commentary even goes international now.
Yeah, that's a more recent development, particularly noticeable in 2025. During performances, like their set at Coachella in April, he showed support for Palestine.
Oh.
Again, modifying lyrics. He apparently changed lines in Jesus of Suburbia to specifically reference kids from Palestine when talking about the ongoing conflict in Gaza, using that massive global platform to address really current contentious international issues. So when you step back and look at the whole picture, the impact is just undeniable. The numbers alone are staggering.
How many records have they sold worldwide?
Roughly 75 million. 75 million records. which is just huge.
And the awards?
5 Grammys, including that really prestigious Record of the Year for Boulevard of Broken Dreams. That's a major achievement.
And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Inducted in 2015, their very first year of eligibility, which is, the ultimate establishment recognition for a band that started out railing against the establishment.
Their influence on other bands is huge too, right? They really brought punk back into the mainstream in the 90s.
Absolutely credited with that, reigniting interest. You can draw a direct line from Green Day to bands like Fall Out Boy, Blink-182, My Chemical Romance, that whole wave of pop punk and emo that dominated the 2000s.
But it goes beyond just punk bands, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Major pop artists cite them too. People like Lady Gaga, Billie Eilish. They've talked about Green Day's influence on their attitude, their energy, maybe even their willingness to tackle bigger themes.
So Billie Joe Armstrong's career, it's really a story of refusing to stay still.
Completely. Constantly reinventing the scale of the music from those early 3-chord punk songs to these sprawling, ambitious rock operas.
Juggling all those side projects like the Network, keeping those different creative outlets alive.
Navigating those really tough personal crises very publicly. Building businesses. And, maybe most significantly, channeling his politics, his social views, directly into the work, especially later in his career.
He somehow managed to keep that core punk energy, that restlessness, while also doing things like starting coffee companies and starring on Broadway.
And becoming this prominent voice of political resistance within the mainstream. It's a fascinating tightrope walk.
So that brings us to our final thought, something for you, the listener, to chew on.
Yeah, think about this. You have a band, Green Day, and a frontman, Billie Joe Armstrong, who become absolutely synonymous with 90s youth rebellion, anti-establishment anger, that whole DIY punk ethos.
Right, banned from Gilman Street for selling out.
Exactly. But then decades later, they're starting businesses, collaborating on Broadway musicals, getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, becoming a go-to voice for mainstream political protest.
So the question is, does that mean the original punk ethos died? Did they inevitably sell out, just over a longer timeline? Or did that ethos just evolve? Did it find new ways, maybe more complex, multi-platform ways to challenge the system, maybe even fight it from the inside, using the tools of the mainstream?
What do you think? When you look back at his whole career, all these twists and turns we've talked about, what stands out to you as the most surprising pivot, the most defining moment in that evolution? Lots to consider there.